Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Hiller here, and it is indeed time for a new crisp review. Today we are starting one of two videos on McCoy's. Now, this isn't anything new for the channel. I have, since about 2009, 2010, reviewed new flavours of Walker's crisps specifically, but last year, for the first ever time, I did a couple of reviews on McCoy's crisp. I think one was chicken fajita and the other one escapes me right now, but it was something quite similar, and I have a feeling these are going to be similar too, and they were very, very middling. They weren't great, they weren't bad. Who cares? The reason I usually do Walker's is because they're the biggest crisp brand in the UK, and I thought that it'd be something interesting left for the field to do. I have toyed with the idea of, anything in the supermarkets that I go to, doing one-off reviews on certain foods, because it might seem a little bit pointless and a little bit trivial, but at the end of the day, when people are spending the hard-earned money, they want to know what's good and what's not. There's actually a use to it, in my opinion. I just had some fish and chips from Tesco for the first time, from Morrison's, sorry, and it was the best range, and it was really bland, and also it was false advertising because the fish on the packet was a different shape and a much bigger shape than the one that I got, but there was a bite out of it anyway, or they'd cut it slightly to show the fish. It was bizarre. They were pulling the wool over people's eyes. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for now we're just going to stick to food reviews, or crisp reviews I should say, and Walker's have got two new flavours, and they are permanent, ladies and gentlemen. Sticky teriyaki, brand new, and also tikka masala, which they did 7 years ago. You know how I know? Because I reviewed them back in the day in 2018. I should watch my own review back. I might link it when I get round to it. But apparently, that is permanent. Like I say, it's not a temporary thing. We'll see how that goes. But these two flavours today, ladies and gentlemen, the one I'm going to be doing today is the one I'm less interested in. It is Blazin buffalo chicken wings. And then I'm going to be doing these all together, but I'm not going to be doing them in one video. I'm drip feeding that delicious content, that delicious potatoey content for you guys. So you'll have to wait for the burger sauce, which I wonder, is that going to be like Ronald McDonald's burger sauce of that once top of the range restaurant, McDonald's, who are obviously very much struggling these days, but I'm expecting that to be like a Big Mac sauce, which is nice Big Mac sauce, I must admit. And obviously these days people have got their own recipe, which is very similar. But yeah, we'll see how that is. Anyway, buffalo today, Blazin buffalo chicken wings. Got on Google, what is a buffalo flavouring? Well, it's chicken wings tossed in a sauce made from hot sauce, okay, and melted butter. The core flavour components include cayenne pepper, it says for heat, garlic for savoury depth, and often paprika. And in a lot of these kinds of crisps, they always put shitloads of paprika in. And it says here variants include cumin, onion powder, even a touch of sweetness from brown sugar or honey. So we might get a bit of sweetness from honey, cayenne pepper and paprika. I tend not to be overly keen, and if you see one of these videos for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, just know that I am pretty easy to please. But yeah, those from last year with McCoy's, they'll have had paprika and cayenne pepper. Let's have a look what we've got in here. Yeah, yeah, it's mainly that and a few other bits and bobs. But it's not just about the tasting of the crisps, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the smelling of them. I'm like that woman. What was her name? Just a second. I don't want to say a name and then it'd be wrong. Who's that? Oh God, no. I'm glad I didn't say her name, because she's not a wine connoisseur. There was a woman back on the TV in the 90s in the UK, and she was always like this, darling. Always like this. I'm getting cayenne pepper. I'm getting paprika. It is very reminiscent of the fucking ones I had last year from McCoy's. Jesus Christ, they're bloody same. And ladies and gentlemen, they are orange. They're not holding back though on the flavouring. I'll tell you what they are holding back on though. There is literally, oh my god, there is next to nothing in there. Look at that. The state of Keir Sterling's Britain in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. By the way, this is in cahoots. Some bullshit about the NFL. McCoy's have got a partnership with the NFL because they used to be main crisps back in the day. And obviously you can't say that anymore, so... Shut your mouth, bald man. Interesting first bite, and to be fair, despite me talking shit, obviously, for dramatic effect, it's either that one. There really aren't many here, though, ladies and gentlemen. Holy shit, it's disgraceful. This is a multi-pack, though. First bite, I'm impressed. Aren't I always, though? Usually. From what I remember, of the two McCoy's flavours I did last year, one was chicken fajita, and the other one, it was about this time last year, about 12 months ago. I can't quite remember, but it was similar. These are quite intriguing. I might watch a few other people's reviews on these. By the way, these have been out about a month or so. They're probably only going to be around for about another month, I would guess, and then they'll be off the shelves. But they're good, and I'll tell you why they're good. It's got both simultaneously a heat kick to them, where you feel, oh, that's a bit of a kick, but also a sweetness. You can taste the brown sugar. Mentioned before, remember about the brown sugar and the honey. Does say honey pretty high up in the ingredients here. So if you're somebody who is like, I want a kick, but I also want sweetness, these are really good. And I was less intrigued by these. What I will say is you're not getting much flavour of actual chicken. I can't really taste much of the chicken flavouring coming through. It's kind of just like honey and the kick of whatever heat, you know. Obviously paprika itself isn't necessarily hot. I don't know, but here on YouTube, on Google of course, it just says hot sauce and melted butter. I think it is the hot flavouring. And I'll tell you something, you know, even though I've had many foods that are hotter than this, crisps that are hotter than this, I'm not somebody who is obsessed about hot food, but, you know, I love a chicken madras, and obviously it's a different kind of food. But even though this isn't that hot, it stays at the back of your throat, which is pretty impressive. It doesn't say anything about it being ultra hot in terms of like a chili rating, you know, when it shows like 2-3 chilies, etc. Doesn't do that. But I'm pretty damn impressed with these. I'm going to have a look on YouTube, see what a few other people think. But I like them, and I do recommend them. To be fair though, I do say that a lot with these videos. But we're running at 9 minutes now, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to go any longer with this one. We'll end it at 10 minutes. But McCoy's Blazin buffalo chicken wings, recommended. The best thing about them, I can't think of a flavour off the top of my head that's got like the sweetness of a tomato ketchup Walker's, but with a heat of whatever hot crisps are out there. They're not mad hot, but there's a kick, and they're tasty and flavourful. What's the drawback to it? Don't expect much chicken. It's basically just sweet and hot, the flavour. But nice, I like them. Now, coming up on the channel next, burger sauce. I'm having a burger.